the Misfits stuff, it damages the sport. But even we can see that Misfits isn't right for the boxing sport. Someone's going to die in the ring in a Misfits boxing
Do you
match.
see the argument against it though? For it, should I say?
No, he doesn't. Or Tommy Fury and Jake Paul.
Tommy actually needs to fight a bit more higher of a level of fighter.
I think the opposite. He needs to stay at this level. He just needs to go through all the YouTubers. To another episode of Bloodlust Boxing. I'm Sav.
And I'm Baz.
And today's episode, we'll be talking about the weekend's action, that Makabu versus Badou Jack fight, and we may even touch on Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. But yeah, a bit hesitant to talk about that, to be honest.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I guess we probably should start with that, to be fair. I mean, it's not that you haven't heard enough about the fight. I guess the only good thing is the promo has been amazing for it, and it sucked everyone into it, hasn't it? So
yeah, I mean the level of like how many celebrities and thingy was and important people were actually at that fight. It's crazy, really.
Yeah, you had Devin Haney there. You had Mike Tyson.
Had
Ronaldo. Wilder. Ronaldo, yeah. Although Ronaldo looked like
he didn't enjoy any of it.
It was kind of like he had a gun to the back of him. He's like, "You go into this fight." He looked like he had better things to do, but he had no choice to be there. So, I mean, as I said, it was good promo. When you compare it to the Mayweather fight that was in the O2, which no one knew about, which totally tanked, it shows the importance of a good promotion, doesn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what do you actually think about the fight itself?
Well, it went the way I thought it was going to go. I just keep thinking back to the fight beforehand, so where you had Badou Jack and Makabu fighting, and it was a great entertaining fight, and then you got Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, and the thing is, you're judging them at, you got one which is a title fight, and you got two top fighters, and then you got Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, and let's be honest, they're novices. You got Tommy Fury, who's, I'm not even sure he's at British level.
I mean, you can't even class him as British level right now. There's few fighters with a name like that have fought the level of opposition he has. Even though I know you want to start him off slow. Let me just read you off like the tail of the tape for a couple of these fighters, all right? And this is no disrespect to them. This is just the level of opposition that he's been up against. His first fight, 10 wins, 102 losses.
Oh god.
Second fight.
Oh man, I didn't know it was that bad.
Second fight, 2 draws, 26 losses. Third fight, 2 wins, 26 losses. Fourth fight, 11 losses, no wins, no draws. And the list just goes on. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I've seen a worse resume, in my entire life for anything.
I think I've got a better resume than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Tommy Fury, regardless of the resume, he is a boxer. So, and he showed that he's a boxer by the way he was using his jab, he was moving around. Yeah, pointed Jake Paul. But as we said, it doesn't seem like he's at that level, that British level. And
no.
Even before the fight, there was nothing that made me think this guy's going to be a champion. He's going to be a star in the boxing ring, not outside the ring.
What do you think about the whole WBC giving a belt for it as well? I mean,
it's just embarrassing.
Left a bad taste in your mouth. I'm not going to lie.
It's embarrassing. It is really embarrassing. And again, taking nothing away from Jake Paul and Tommy Fury, because at the end of the day, two guys have got in a ring. They've had a fight. The amount of pressure that's been on both of them, the build up, getting everyone to watch, getting people to pay their money. It takes a lot to be able to do that. But
yeah, of course,
boxing has to hold itself accountable, and the WBC is meant to be one of the most established and well, thought of associations, and it's produced a belt for this. Like, I mean, we said it before. It's a money grab, isn't it? They'll get their percentage.
Yeah, of course it is.
Or they'll get future percentages of any other fight. So it's smart thinking for them, and it just shows it's a business. But I don't know. Boxing just doesn't do itself any favors at all, does it?
Nah, sometimes just not right. But hey, at the end of the day, at least we had a good fight before that, though, didn't
But
we?
yeah, but it had that. Let me just go back to it again. I mean, when you look over the last couple of weeks, we had the Chris Eubank Jr. fight versus Liam Smith. Yeah,
Yeah, cracking fight.
yeah. We had the Anthony Yard fight. Yeah, versus Better Biev. We had
Wicked
the
fight.
Lara fight versus Lee Wood. Those are boxing fights. That is what we should be watching. That should be the pinnacle. That is what we should be excited about. And to see what we saw on the weekend from that headliner fight, is you've got to know what levels people are at and appreciate it for what it is. So you can't expect them to be fighting at the same level. But
Do you think it should have like a separate? I mean, I know it has got its own platform in a way, but do you think it should not be entwined into boxing as a whole and more
so
just as its own thing?
so for this fight, I think I class Tommy Fury as a boxer, and now after seeing the last one, and Jake Paul, I would class him as a fighter, but I wouldn't say he's at any particular level. So
Yeah,
what you should be doing is seeing them on an undercard somewhere, right at the bottom of an undercard for a big
yeah,
fight,
yeah.
and
I
that's where
agree
they
with
should
that.
be fighting. The misfit stuff it damages the sport. I mean, we're casual fans who like talking about boxing, but even we can see that misfits isn't right for the boxing sport. Like someone's going to die in the ring in a misfits
Do you
boxing
see
match.
the argument against it though? For it, should I say?
No, it doesn't.
You would get some people that would argue that it's bringing more eyes to the sport, so bringing more popularity to the sport, hence upping fighters' wages, perhaps, and then in general maybe
I
aiding
can
the sport
I
as a
can
whole.
I can understand the Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury argument, yeah, but the misfits side of it is completely different, and I don't think that should be something completely different. That shouldn't be classed as boxing because you've got people going in there who've done no training at all, or look like they've done no training at all. They're drinking pints of beer after they've done a weigh-in. It's disgusting. It's
Yeah,
and it's dangerous as well because even in the white collar fight, yeah, you'll get two guys or girls, and you'll go through like a 8 week camp or whatever, and you'll be judged and matched up with someone at a similar sort of level. Now with the misfits boxing
yeah.
or whatever it is, you've got people who you have no idea what level they're at, how they're being matched up, and you're putting them in a ring together, and it's dangerous.
Well, and at least in white collar as well, you'd still have head guards
You've got head
for the
guards,
most
yeah.
part, so you still got that level of protection.
What's going to happen is someone's going to die in the ring and in one of these misfits fights or whatever, and then you're gonna see the amount of red tape that's going to be put on boxing. It just damages itself. It should be classed as something different. It shouldn't be on the main YouTube channels. Like all the channels that we watch, it should be on a subset of a channel. They should set up separate channels because I don't want to see it, and the purist boxing fans don't want to see it, and I think even the casual boxing fans don't want to see it. So they should be setting up these other channels should be setting up separate channels for those misfits, whatever it is. And then they should just, because what's going to happen is in 3 or 4 years' time or whatever, when the YouTube world or whatever gets bored of boxing, then what are you left with?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my rant. But on the flip side, we had the Makabu fight versus Badu Jack, and that was a good fight for a title.
Yeah. To be fair, I was slightly regretting paying the money for the for the promotion, but no, that paid for it in itself. I mean, what a fight!
Yeah, Badu Jack rolled
I'm
back
not.
the years.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
And
lie. Usually, I'm not usually the most entertained by Badou Jack's fighting style, but
he's got a lot of power, doesn't he? Yeah. Did
he
he?
has.
Did
He
it?
has.
Am I right in thinking he knocked out the gal's 2 front teeth or something like? He knocked out a couple of the gal's teeth. But I think I might have to look it back. But Yeah, I was watching the fight and it kind of went the way I thought it was going to go. I saw Makabu kept dropping his right arm, didn't he?
Mm.
And I was just thinking when he was throwing his jab, he was doing it for in threes and fours, wasn't he? The jab, which your jabs are bread and butter, but he was almost
Yeah.
getting a bit too trigger happy with it. And I was just
He was
thinking,
being a bit lazy with his right hand as well, in terms of he was leaving it out there too long.
well, that's what I'm saying. And I was thinking all Bodie Jack needs to do is just time it properly and get the left hook in, and he's going to cause
Yeah.
the world of problem to Makabu. And that's where most of his luck. Well, he's worked great, and he saw the progress in that fight because he threw a couple of left hooks in a row, and that took a bit off Makabu, and then he sort of mixed it up a bit, went to the body, went to the head again. So,
Yeah.
but
Do you reckon
yeah,
that layoff for Makabu was a big factor?
yeah, he looked like he was gassing out quite big time.
Yeah.
But it was, I
Especially
mean,
towards the end.
he's still coming forward. But what next though? What next for Badu Jack in the cruiserweight division?
Well, there is a few options for him, but I mean,
You
fair play
got you
to the
got
guy.
Coley.
He's three-time world champion, free weight champion now, isn't he?
Yeah, there's React Pod, there's a Coley, there's Billiam Smith, Chris Billiam Smith. All the UK domestic fighters who are there as well.
The most
Yeah, that's
obvious,
true.
because he holds two belts, would probably be Jay Opatia.
Yeah,
So I mean, at his age now, Father Time's not his friend at the moment.
I
You would
think.
argue that he needs to just go for it.
Does he go for that or does he go where the money is? Because the money fight might be in the UK. If you got it on the
Mm.
Sky box office, you got Reactpor, you got a Coley, you get a big crowd in maybe the O2. So that could be a good idea.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. Not a bad shout. Get with a Coley.
And I think a
Um,
Coley and Reactpor would either one of them would, that'd be up for that fight. Obviously, Okoli's got his fight coming up, hasn't he? Versus David Light, I think it is. But after that,
possibly. But either
yeah,
way, what a cracking fight it was.
if you tuned in for that, then you got to see a good fight. What about there was a couple of little things in that fight, wasn't there? But were proper like annoying. You had the bit where they cut to the crowd when it was Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, and they were talking to was it Logan Paul, and it was being screened to the crowd what he thought about Tommy
Oh
Fury.
yeah. How can they do that? How can you?
It just boxing shooting itself in the foot again.
It's silly.
It's not professional at all, is it?
I mean, he's going to say something, and the fact that
You
it's
could even
broadcast to everyone in the rest of the ring, that never happens. That never
You could-
happens. It's always just to that broadcaster.
you could even argue that if Tommy Fury lost the fight, he could even use it like as an excuse. He could be like, "Well, that threw me off." Like,
Possible. But then they could
it's a
argue
bit
that
slim, but
it's a whole event.
it's and then the refereeing as well. What did you think about that?
Refereeing was just terrible. I don't understand where they're finding these refs. They definitely
Shocking,
need some
innit?
fresh blood. From my understanding, they don't pay referees very much, and I think this needs to
Nah, not
change.
enough.
So what? There was something else you didn't like about the fight stuff. What was it?
Oh, just BT Sports or box office. I don't know what the guy's name is. He's got like that mullet, not mullet. He's got like that. I don't know. Is it a wig? Like he's just terrible, absolutely terrible. I don't know what his name is. One of his comments was like to people. He's like, yeah, you probably weren't tuning in for the rest, the fight earlier, but for those of you tuning in just for the Jake Paul fight, and I don't. It's the way
this was straight after the title fight, wasn't it?
straight after the title fight. It's like you probably weren't.
What a comment to make.
Actually, I think he even said you probably weren't watching that if you're here for the Jake Paul fight or something.
Yeah,
but it was just so disparaging, and I just every time I see him, I just like he's terrible. They need to sort that out.
Yeah, for sure.
They've got that Dev Sani who's a lot better. Like I would have him on there or something, but yeah. But anyway,
don't rate him.
But what next for Tommy Fury and Jake Paul?
Well, I think Tommy actually needs to fight a bit more higher of a level of of fighter, but I think he's going to get found out. I think he's going to get found out.
I think the opposite. He needs to stay at this level. He just needs to go through all the YouTubers, KSI, just work his way through and just stay there, make as much money as you can fighting them. Because if you're going to get paid 2, 3, 4 million or whatever it is to fight those guys, that's where you're going to make money. You're not going to.
And let's be honest, like from the look, you can generally tell a world class fighter from the off a lot of the time, especially once they've turned pro and they've had amateur experience. But I can't see him ever going world level. I can't see him ever going world level.
What's the plus points? Has he got power? No, for a hench guy, he hasn't got power. I've never seen him knock anyone out. Boxing ability, well, he can throw a jab, but he was very linear in his movement. He's not like Adam Azim or that type of a fighter where you can see the ability there. So he ain't got power and he ain't got boxing ability.
And he was actually getting caught by Jake as well.
So
that's the worst thing. He's getting caught clean on the chin.
Yeah.
So maybe he's got a bit of a jaw going for him. He's got a long reach, a crazy long reach, to be fair, for his height.
But I think, as I said, he just needs to stay at this level, make as much money as you can out of these type of fights, and hope to get a British title maybe along the way. Anyway, that's been us for us today, and the enthusiasm's not been there. I'm sorry, but
we've got quite a lot out of our system today, haven't we? Really, so
yeah, it's been like a therapy session.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe. I'm Sav.
I'm Baz.
That's Bloodlust Boxing.
Peace.